Hello again, this is Miss Israel at Einstein High School. Today we're looking at Unit 2, Topic 2, Question 36. An office is interested in how much recycling occurs. On the first day of a month, there were 700 pounds of recycled materials. Each day after that, 80 more pounds of recycled materials were added. Let R of n represent the total number of recycled material on day n. A. Complete the table for the number of pounds of recycled materials. Okay, so what we need to figure out here is, are we dealing with an arithmetic or geometric sequence? So we're looking for either a constant difference or a constant ratio. So I'm going to go back and read that again. On the first day of the month, there were 700 pounds. Okay. Each day after that, 80 more pounds were added. Well, there's a key word right there. We're adding, so this is going to represent an arithmetic sequence or a linear function. Okay, so we're going to complete the table. We know that we're adding 80, and we can see that here. That's definitely plus 80. So I'm going to keep adding 80. 780 plus 80 is 860. Plus 80 is 940. Plus 80 is 1020. And plus 80 is 1100. Okay. Part B says, on which day will there be 1,580 pounds of recycled materials? Show how you determined your answer. You can see I gave myself some extra space here. One of the best ways to answer a question like that is simply to continue the table. It's not always the most efficient way to do it, but it will get you to the correct answer. So I'm going to show you how we can get the answer using the table, and then I'm going to show you how we can get the answer using an explicit rule for this pattern. All right, so I'm going to give myself some more rows here. I'm just going to keep adding until we get to our answer. So I hope I have enough room. Let's see. All right, so 7, I'm going to add 80 again. So I can see now that I finally made it to 1580, and we know that it's day 12. Okay, so again, I have a question like this. I'm just trying to figure out, I'm trying to reach a value. You can always keep the table going and find the answer. But notice we had to kind of make this awkward looking table and extend it, and it kind of took a little while to do that. So let's see if there's a more efficient way to do it. All right, I'm going to write an explicit rule for this function. And so what we need for an explicit rule, we need our initial value, our starting point. We need the common difference, and we're going to multiply that value times our step, or whatever the variable it is. Could be n, could be any letter that you choose. For our formula, I just used x. Okay, so let's do that for this. We're looking for r of n, f of 0, or in this case, f of 1. It's really just where we started, is 700. Okay, so I'm going to write an explicit rule for this function. I'm going to remind us of what the formula is here. So we're going to have f of n equals f of 0 or f of 1. Since our table started at 1, I'm going to use f of 1 plus our difference times n minus 1. So let's do that for this pattern. We're looking for r of n. We know that f of 1 is equal to 700. So instead of f of 1, I'm going to write 700 we know that our difference is 80, and we're going to multiply that times n minus 1. All right, but we know what we're looking for. We're actually trying to solve for 1580. So instead of r of n, I'm going to write 1580. And then we're just going to solve this equation here. First thing I'm going to do is simplify. So that's going to be 80n minus 80. 700. I'm going to give myself a little more room here. Bear with me. Okay. And I'm going to simplify. So I have 15 is equal to, well, I have like terms here, minus 80 and 700. So that's going to be 620 plus 80n. And I'm going to subtract 620 from both sides. And end up with 940. Excuse me, 960. Right, and that's going to equal 80n. And when I divide, calculator go. $960 divided by is going to give us 12, which we knew was the answer. Okay. So two ways to do the same thing. It's very efficient to use the formulas. Maybe you thought that was a way worse way to do it and you just want to keep the table going. I like to give us options. Okay, let's continue. Okay, so we figured out that it's going to be 12. So let's put that into a sentence here. We're talking about the number of pounds on day n. So on which day? There will be 1,580 pounds on day 12. And we showed how we got our answer when we completed the table. Okay, let's continue. Write a recursive formula for the number of pounds of recycled material. Okay, so our recursive formula for this one is going to start with 1. So we know that on day 1 we had 700 pounds. And we know that we were adding 80 to the previous term. Okay. All right, and in our explicit formula, and this formula is on the front of your review packet, we started with 700, and we're adding 80. Again, we're going to use that previous term here. And we could also simplify it. So we could say R of n equals 700 plus 80n minus 80. And simplifying further, this would be R of n equals 620 plus 80n. So I'm going to circle those two formulas. Either one will work. So we have two different ways to write the same explicit formula. And that's going to do it for question 36.